everything that we say we want, it's because of how we think we're going to feel when we get it.
How do you define success?
My definition of success has changed over the last 2 years, and I would not be surprised if it changed again in the next coming years. I think that for the last 10 years, I really defined success by the projects I was booking and the money I was making. And once I got those things that I desired, then I realized, wait a minute, I really just want to be happy. Not that some of those things didn't make me happy, but now I'm really chasing, for lack of a better word, what makes me happy. And that's, to me, more important. I think that I'm still weaving into my, one of my coaches was like, oh, so you say that's what, or maybe my therapist said this, you say that success is just about what makes you happy, but you're still kind of living in this world where you want to make a certain amount of money and you want to book certain projects. And so I think that I have one foot in that world and one foot in this world. But for me, it's so much more about being happy and helping people. And so I'm trying to refocus my energy on that, because I think it's really easy to get caught up, especially in the social media world where we're comparing ourselves to other people all the time and what their lives look like and where they're spending their money and what projects. I think, a lot of my actor clients, we talk about how their least favorite question ever is, have I seen you in anything? Or are you working on anything now? People feel very insecure about that question. And so I just, I myself have gotten very caught up in what projects I'm working on so that I can tell other people, and then I will be perceived as successful. And being perceived as successful is more important than how I actually feel doing these things. And so, so now I'm just trying to let go of that and focus on what makes me happy. Like, I think that, it's like if we look back at our lives, I don't know, I would rather be happy and doing things that feel good and excite me than constantly worrying about trying to compare myself to others and what it looks like to other people.
What do you think about the fact that that's a great place to be in, but some people might need to have kissed the ring, so to speak, and then realize, you know what, it wasn't that great and I actually just want to be happy. But they needed that experience to know I actually was up here for a little bit and I decided I wasn't happy, but I needed to know what that felt like.
Yeah, I think that we all are on our own journey. We all are on our own path. If I had to experience that to learn this lesson, it's not even necessarily a lesson, it's just a redirect for myself. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, some people just have to live out their journey and live out their own experiences then to decide what they want. I think that's what we're always collecting data based on how we feel. So everything that we do, we're collecting data and then we're reevaluating. So I think that's totally okay. But what I do sort of direct people in my book is to, and again, this is something that I feel like that I've been working on, is to stop setting goals that are based on validation, right? So try to at least start chasing the joy, because I think that all those things that you think you want, they're going to come anyway, right? You can be happy and get all those things, but we don't necessarily always know why we want those things. And so I think it is important to take a look at, like, well, why do I want that? Like, I remember I have a dream of buying a house. It used to be in the hills, but now I want one in the Palisades or, with ocean view as opposed to city view. And I remember someone said to me, oh, do you want that because of how it'll look? And I said, oh my gosh, no, that's not part of this dream for me at all. I want it because I have family back on the East Coast and I want rooms for them to come visit for extended periods of time so that I can be, I'm very close with my family and I hate that they're so far away and I don't get to see them very often. And I'm also very sensitive to my surroundings, that I want surroundings that inspire me and excite me. And so it's really what it's about. And so I think I think if you're feeling like, well, I want the money or I want the accolades, it's just about getting really honest with yourself about why you want those things. Everything that we say we want, it's because of how we think we're going to feel when we get it. So if you want an Oscar, why? What do you think you're going to feel when you get that Oscar? And I think that if you can break down those feelings, it's more important to sort of chase those feelings or to try to feel those now than necessarily the label that you think is going to give you those feelings, if that makes sense. So I think, like I said, in my book, it's really about like, set any goal that you want. There's nothing wrong with any of them. But if you're chasing them for validation to make you feel good, to make you feel more worthy or more deserved, it probably isn't going to feel the way that you think it's going to feel. It's not going to solve the inner problem, right? Like none of the external things that we create for ourselves or that we get are never going to solve an internal problem.
I think most of this is validation from others or self-validation?
Validation from others.
You think that matters more to most people?
I think a lot of us make decisions based on how others will perceive it. Like for example, everyone and their mother in this industry says that they want to work on Netflix, on a Netflix project. And, there might be some reasons behind that in the terms of, well, they do great work. They tell complex stories and I'm interested in the stories that they're telling. But a lot of people, especially the actors that I work with or the directors, the writers, they say they want Netflix because Netflix is a huge, well-known entity right now. And if they book something Netflix, they can then post it on social media or they can tell people, hey, I booked a Netflix show. And that makes them feel successful because they're perceived as successful because it's a network or a streamer that everybody knows, right? But what if what was really important to you that you booked a project that told a meaningful story, that impacted people's lives, and that was really fun to create, and it felt really great. Like you were working with great people, collaborating with great people, and the whole experience just felt good. Well, what if you could get that experience at ABC or on Hulu or another smaller now, because I talk about one of my best experiences in Hollywood was a show that was on ABC Family, which is now Freeform, and I don't think many people are like, I want to work on Freeform. Like everyone's like, I want to work on Netflix. It's not maybe as sexy. Maybe they don't have quite as many viewers, but it was the most fun I ever had on a show. And we were telling a meaningful story and there were really amazing crew and cast members. It was just a really good experience. So yeah, I think that this is a long way to say, I think it is about chasing validation from others and how we are perceived by others.
And does that go back to sort of that boxes thing that you said, like being in LA, you think that there's these certain rules in these boxes, and it's the same thing about like, oh, you're just doing the Score network? I've never heard of it. Yeah, oh, okay, yeah, no, but if you were somewhere else, oh, wow, you're on a TV show? How cool.
Right.
But here, there's these levels.
Right, the hierarchy. Yeah. I don't know if it's necessary. I guess the box is in a way where you're like boxing yourself into what your dream has to look like. Like my dream has to look like me working for Netflix. So I guess in a way, but I do think, that people don't realize that it's probably going to be a more enjoyable experience if you intentionally try to create a good experience for yourself, like a show that you love working on, that you're doing meaningful work, than whatever the label of the network or the studio is. Because, look, like I've known series regulars who have quit and who just like after a few seasons weren't feeling fulfilled anymore. It wasn't like a story they felt like was meaningful in their lives, And so that happens, like you might get the thing that you think you want, like you might get Netflix and then it not be a good experience. I'm not trying to put that out there. I'm sure like there's a lot of amazing experiences on Netflix, but my point is like get clear about how you want the experience to feel and what you want the experience to look like. Like I say in my book, like make a list of everything that you want in the next project you want to book or whatever goal you're working towards. Write the list of everything you think Netflix is going to give you, right? Write down everything you think it's going to give you and then take away Netflix at the top. And then, but still chase your list, right? So you're still really going after what you truly want, but you're allowing it to look however it looks.
How do you help people with the part of success where they want what other people have?
I mean, that is happening all the time. And I have found myself getting caught up in that too. You know, I think that when people post things on social media, I think that's like really a lot of where it comes from as opposed to seeing it in actual real life. I think that when we see somebody's highlight reel on social media, we are putting a whole story behind that post about what it means and how it must feel for them to have that thing, right? So if somebody posts a picture of themselves driving a Porsche, you know, a very fancy car, and they're smiling in it and they're like, yeah, you know, they look cool. You might then create this whole story about what that means for that person and how their life must be so amazing and it must feel so good for them and wow, they have so much money. And we create this whole narrative about what it means when we see them having this thing. And we're like, well, we want those feelings. I want to feel financially stable. I want to feel wealthy. I want to feel excited about a new purchase. I want to have a car like that, right? So we think that they're feeling a certain way when they have something. And then we want to feel that way. And so we think the way we feel it is to try to get the same thing they have. And it's so easy to get caught up in whatever we think, you know, people are, or whatever we're seeing people have, you know, even if it's a booking, you know, if you book a job or you have an audition or something, you know, I think that if you see someone post online that, I'm trying to think of something that maybe I've thought I wanted, but I didn't actually want. Like, for example, one of my clients said, you know what, they're an actor. And they were like, you know what, every actor wants to be series regular. They think it's like hitting the lottery, you know, financial lottery, because it's a lot of money and it's consistent work. And one of my clients was like, you know what, I don't think I want to be series regular at this time in my life. Like, cause you usually have to wake up at like 4 a.m. You know, you're there all day. It's a very long day. You have to wake. She's like, I don't know if I kind of like waking up at 8 o'clock and say, you know, I don't know if that's really what I want in my life right now. So she had to, you know, get honest about, wait a minute, what makes me happy? What would make me happy now? So I think social media plays a big role in it, but it's really what we decide it means. Right? What we decide it means that this person booked this project or has this opportunity. We also don't know the truth about what it means to that person or what they're really feeling on the other side of it. You know, maybe they're like posting, I had this amazing audition for Netflix. Wow, I'm so lucky. I have such a great life. But really they're feeling like maybe it was like a 2-line role and it was something that they're not actually excited about, but they're trying to tell the world that they had this Netflix audition. And then people that see it are like, oh man, they have this great life. They're getting these Netflix auditions. And then we create the story about what we think they're feeling or what, you know. So I think it comes down to what are the feelings you want to feel when you get the thing you want, and stop assuming that every single person who has something feels that exact way. Because I think we're attaching those feelings to what other people have.